Hello guys and girls, and welcome to another video lesson. Today is a super exciting day because we're actually going to be getting started on a new project, and it is going to be over the topic of text structure. So for the last few days we took some notes over text structure, we did some practice passages with text structure, and normally what we would do is we would be getting ready to take a test, but the 6th grade language arts teachers got together and we decided that we actually want to do a project for this unit instead of doing a test. So in this video, we are going to be going over the directions for the project. You're going to have the opportunity to ask your teacher any questions that you might have. And then tomorrow on Google Classroom, everything that you need for the project is going to be posted. You'll have all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday to work on the project, and then your final product will be due Wednesday at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and take a second and talk about what exactly you're going to be doing. So as you can see, these are our directions, and it says, congratulations, you have made it through our text structure unit. Like I said, normally at this point, we would be gearing up and getting ready to take a test, but we are going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of taking a test over text structure, we're actually going to do a project instead. But what you do need to know, pay attention to this part, is that this project is going to count as a test grade. So even though we're not taking a test on Google Forms, this is still going to count as a test grade. And remember, your test grades are a big part of your overall grade. Make sure that you read the steps below to learn more about the project. Step number 1, you are going to choose one of the text structures that we talked about in class to research. So your options are sequence, description, compare and contrast, problem and solution, cause and effect. You are only choosing one text structure, and you're going to be doing some research about that text structure. Step number 2, after you've made your decision, you are going to research your text structure using the resources provided to you on Google Classroom or by doing your own research on the internet. Remember, everything for this project is going to be posted on Google Classroom tomorrow. So, on Google Classroom tomorrow, there's going to be some different resources where you can do your research. Within those resources, you will have everything that you need to do to complete this project. But if you would like to, you can also use the internet to do any additional research that you might need to do. Step number 3, you are actually going to be creating a Google Slides presentation over whatever text structure you choose to research. And in your Google Slides, you have some questions that you're going to be responsible for answering. The first question, what is this text structure? Give a definition. So let's say, for example, you choose to do the sequence text structure. One thing that we want to see in your Google Slides presentation is a definition of what sequence is. The next question that you're going to answer are, what are some signal or key questions you would see with this text structure? What are some signal or key words that you would see with this text structure? What type of graphic organizer would be used with this text structure? And then give an example of a text that uses this text structure and explain why it is your type of text structure. So within your Google Slides presentation, we want to see the answers to all of these questions. And again, everything that you need to answer these questions will be in the documents that we're going to give to you tomorrow on Google Classroom. Now, what I would like to do is take a second and show you those documents, what you're going to be using for your research. The first thing that your teacher is going to post is this document here. Up at the top, it has all the different text structures that we've talked about. It starts with cause and effect and goes all the way to description. And then within each column, it gives you some information. So for cause and effect, this first box gives you the definition. Then it gives you some signal questions and some signal words. So this is one place where you can pull some information to fill in your Google Slides. The next thing that your teacher is going to post should actually look pretty familiar to you. This is actually the notes that you guys filled in last week. If you still have your own notes, you can go back to those, or you can use these. These are the ones that I typed in as I was creating those videos. Remember, on this document, it has each text structure. It starts with sequence. It has a paragraph that explains what that text structure is, and we also highlighted the keywords. It has a picture that goes with each text structure. It also has an example text. Remember, these example texts were all about sea turtles, so that would be something that you could use for your presentation. And then with each text structure, there was also a graphic organizer, so that might be something else that you could pull in. And again, it starts with sequence and goes all the way down to problem and solution at the end. So this would be another place where you can pull some information for your presentation. The last thing that your teacher is going to post for you is a Google Slides presentation. And in this presentation, it goes over each text structure. It starts with cause and effect. It gives you a definition of that text structure, and then it also gives you an example of that text structure. Towards the end of the passage or of the presentation, there are some example passages that you could use for your project. On these slides up at the top, it'll tell you the name of the passage. So this one is called Popular Sports. And it also tells you what text structure is being used in the passage. So this would be another great resource where you can get some information for your project. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is what your presentation will look like. So again, remember, everything that you need is going to be posted for you tomorrow on Google Classroom. But one of the things that you're going to see is this presentation, and this is just an outline. You're going to have your own copy of this. So when you get this, this is where you're actually going to be typing in and filling in all of your answers. Anywhere where it says type your blank here, that means you're going to erase that and fill it in with your own information. So on this first slide, it says type your text structure here. So let's say, for example, you choose the compare and contrast text structure. So you're going to erase where it said type your text structure here, and you're going to fill it in with whatever text structure you choose to research. Here where it says type your name, you will erase that and you will fill in your own name. Pretty simple, right? Then everything that you're supposed to include in your presentation has already been outlined for you. Your job is to just go in and fill in the blanks. So for example, this first slide is for your definition. So if you were doing the compare and contrast text structure, you would go back to those research documents, find a definition, and you're going to fill it in on this slide. The next slide is for your key questions. So again, go back to the research, find key questions that go with that text structure and fill it in. And I did want to point out that we are looking for at least 3 key questions. If you have more, that's awesome, but at least 3. Next one is going to be keywords. Again, we want to see at least 3 keywords. For your graphic organizer, we're looking for a picture. So you can either copy and paste a picture from some of the research that we have given to you, or you could also go to Google Images and do a search and find a picture from Google to put in here as a graphic organizer example. Then you are going to have your example slide. On this part of the slide, we want to see a passage. It can come straight from those notes that we talked about, a passage that is an example of your text structure, but then you also have to explain. So you have to let us know what makes that passage fit in with your text structure. And we're going to look at an example of that here in just a second. On the very last slide, it says, please do not type on this slide. Just leave this one the way it is, because this is where your teacher is actually going to give you a grade. This is the rubric that we're going to be using. You're going to get points in different categories. So first category, did you give a definition? If yes, you get your 5 points. Second category is for your key questions, keywords, graphic organizer, your example and explanation. And then the last category is for overall appearance. So we want your final product to look very nice. That means everything should be spelled correctly. You should have all the blanks filled in. And if you want to, you can also get a little creative with your presentation, maybe put in some pictures, or you can also change the background. And if you don't know how to change the background, what you'll do is tap on one of your slides. You can actually use 2 fingers and tap on your mouse pad. And then you will click change theme. And when you do that, Google has all of these nice backgrounds already embedded onto Google Slides, so you can choose one of these that you like, and if you click it, it will apply to your slides. So just remember, we want a very nice finished product. The last thing that I wanted to show you all is an example of a project that I had a student that did for me last year. This is a great example of what we would like your final product to look like. Now, I purposefully chose a text structure that we did not cover this year. It's called the chronological text structure. That's not one that you can choose from, so we definitely should not see anybody with a project about chronological text structure. This is just an example. Remember, on the first slide, we want to see the name of your text structure and also your name, so make sure you fill that in. That first slide is going to be for your definition. So again, you'll go back to your research. This person gave a definition of the chronological text structure, and you guys notice they changed the background so it looks really nice. The next slide was for the key questions. They chose to put a picture here. And I also want to point out that this person used a font that is very easy to read. They used nice dark colors so that we can see what it says. Keywords, remember, for the key questions and the keywords, we want at least 3. This person did 3 key questions, but they did 4 keywords, which is perfect. For their graphic organizer, they did a Google image search, and they found this example of a timeline that they used for their graphic organizer. And then here we have their example passage. On this side, we have the passage, and then on this side we have the explanation. Now, I do want to point out that you can tell this explanation is not just one sentence long. They added some detail here. So when you are doing your explanation, we want to see some detail. So we'll look at this one so you guys can get an idea of what we're looking for. They put, this passage is written using the chronological text structure. I know this because there are several dates in the passage. So they told us the text structure, and then they told us how they knew it was that text structure. Now here they give some examples from the passage. So they put, the author tells that the first recipe for ice cream was printed in 1718, and that in 1832 Augustus Jackson printed several other recipes for ice cream. It also states that ice cream soda was invented around 1874, and that the American ice cream cone was created in 1904. So again, they tell us what the text structure is, how they know, and then they give some examples from the passage. It ends by saying, since all of these events are listed in order of time, I know that this passage uses the chronological text structure. So just again, one more time to reiterate, we want a nice explanation for what makes this fit within your text structure. And then at the end, like we talked about earlier, this is where your teacher is going to be giving you your grade. Now, if we go back to our direction sheet, step number 4, once you have each slide of your presentation filled in, you can add your pictures, you can change the background. Just remember, we want the end product to look nice. So make sure that everything is legible. Make sure you choose a font that we can read. And then number 5, when your presentation is completely finished, you need to make sure that you turn it in on Google Classroom. I mentioned this earlier, but just to remind you one more time, everything for your project is going to be posted tomorrow, but you'll actually have all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday to get it completed. And your final product is due Wednesday, December 16th by the end of the day. If you want to take another look at the example project that I just showed you, you can click this link here. That is all we're going to do today. Today is just some time for you to make sure you understand the project. If you have any questions about it, today is the day to reach out to your teacher. You can reach out to them through email or through Google Classroom and let them know maybe what you need a little more clarification on. And other than that, we really can't wait to see your all's projects.